improving, investing in making it better, easier for people to pay their taxes, because it is critically important that every individual, every householder, me included, my household, your household, and then the two of you as business people and the leader of business groups, encourage your members to pay what they are due to pay, so that the mayor can keep galloping along. All in all, last question, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the budget debate and what it has in store for you and your members?
Very optimistic about the budget.
Antoinette?
No new taxes.
I will have to be optimistic,
no
but I will
taxes.
say that if we're disappointed, then that is something that we'll have discussion on.
We'll talk about it. Thank you very much for your time.
I think the minister will make an excellent presentation to the people of Jamaica.
All right, I hope so too. Thank you very much. Antoinette Hamilton and Garnet Reed, thank you for your time. Nika Lewis is standing. What is she wearing today? It's a nice blouse. It's a nice shirt, Nika. I really like it. Your pants are solid. Your shirt is really doing it for me. She's standing by with the news at 7. Good evening.
It's Tuesday, March 11, 2025. Welcome to CVM News at noon. I'm Ramon Gordon. Finance Minister Fayval Williams takes the spotlight in Parliament today, unveiling the government's $1.3 trillion spending plan for 2025-2026. She's set to outline how the funds will be allocated when she opens the budget debate at 2 p.m. with over $1 trillion earmarked for recurrent expenses and almost $63 billion for capital projects. This year's budget mirrors last year's figures. The debate heats up Thursday with opposition spokesperson on finance Julian Robinson, followed by opposition leader Mark Golding next Tuesday. Prime Minister Andrew Holness weighs in on March 20 before Williams wraps up discussions on March 25. And veteran reggae artist Calvin Scott, known as Coco T, has died. He reportedly passed away from cardiac arrest at a hospital in Florida on Tuesday morning. Tributes have been pouring in from the music fraternity and national leaders. Prime Minister Andrew Holness hailed him as a musical genius whose influence spanned the globe, while opposition leader Marco Golding praised his legacy of love and unity. Coco T, best known for his hits like Meet Me by the River and Tune In, leaves behind an enduring musical legacy. CVM TV extends condolences to his family and friends. Now, the ISA Foundation has carried out an initiative in a move to improve neonatal care in the island. They have led this step at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital in Kingston. Both chairman of the foundation, Paul Issa, along with President and CEO Diane Pollard, are looking forward to the changes the project will bring.
It's a program that was developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics and adopted by the World Health Organization. It's called Helping Baby Breathe, or Essential Newborn Care, which is how it's now referred to. And it's training of how to keep babies that are born in crisis, how to keep them alive, basically. And it's a number of techniques that they train them on. And a group of doctors and nurses from the States have come down to actually do the training live and to certify the nurses from this hospital that have gone through the training.
One of the things that we will continue doing is helping schools, providing education, especially the schools, because if they aren't healthy, they can't learn. And so we will continue providing neonatal and pediatric care across the island.
Speaking on CVM's lead story, the presidents of the SBAJ and the MSME Alliance shared their priorities for the 2025-2026 budget debate set to begin today. Top concerns include easing financial pressures, improving infrastructure, and fostering a more supportive environment for growth.
I expect no new taxes
Yes.
for 9 years.
Yes.
I expect that the minister will talk about roads for the farmers. I've been getting a lot of complaint about farmers cannot bring their produce to market because of bad farm roads.
Yes.
That is number one. We get a lot of complaint about that. We also get complaint about the allocation for the $1,000 to travel overseas. I would love the minister if she could increase it for $2,000.
You mean the duty allowance?
The duty allowance. Increase it to $2,000 so that small business operator who go abroad, Florida, to buy their goods can come back and make an honest living.
We want to learn about the tax reforms that we have been advocating for. In fact, we have been advocating for tax exemption for the first 2 years of operations for newly registered companies. So that's exemption from corporate income tax.
Companies of what size?
Well, once you're new,
Yeah.
you're in the micro.
Doesn't matter the size.
Well, micro, small, and medium doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, once you're new, you're pretty much in the micro.
Yeah.
So you're startup. So you really don't have much
Yeah.
activity already.
Gotcha.
So what we're saying is exemption from corporate income tax for 2 years. That we believe will help to stimulate the economy. It will remove the perception that many of our businesses that are outside of the formal system has that the taxman is going to take all of my money. And so that is
It's a
something
very
that we're
important
looking
one,
forward
I think,
to.
yes.
The PNP is rebuffing the government's claims of economic success, calling growth underwhelming. Party leader Mark Golding and East Portland MP hopeful Isa Buchanan say poor leadership has stalled progress, especially in Portland. Courtney Lewis reports.
The People's National Party, PNP, is pushing back against the government's claim of economic prosperity. Party leader Mark Golding told Portlanders the performance of the Jamaica Labour Party has been disappointing.
The promise 5 in 4. 5% growth would be achieved within 4 years. Nothing like that ever happened. We've been tottering along at around 1% growth.
Golding says the economic downturn of 1% can no longer be attributed to the wiles of 2024's Hurricane Beryl. Instead, he says it points to poor leadership and economic management. While speaking at a public forum in East Portland, Golding opined that many of Portland's economic attractions are underdeveloped.
If we do the right things, if we deal with the infrastructure issues, and we roll out the proper plan, and we finance the construction of a proper terminal for larger cruise ships, we can transform the economy of Portland and make it the gem for Jamaica.
But he wasn't the only one with a grouse. The East Portland MP hopeful attorney Isa Buchanan credited local businesses for economic opportunities, but doubled down on his position of low growth in the constituency.
The economy in Portland Eastern, right as I'm talking to you, is dead. We now have none. While your government says it's burial, it's not a recession, it's not a compression, it's not any ession. The reality is your government has failed you.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
Public passenger vehicle operators have voiced concerns over parking challenges, prompting action from the People's National Party. Opposition spokesperson on social transformation, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, says the PNP will explore possible solutions to address the issue.
We recognize that if we are going to present solutions, we need to know what their issues are and what their ideas are. And of course, the biggest problem here in Happy right now is the issue of congestion and parking, designated parking for taxi drivers. So lots of licenses have been issued, but no designated parking areas have been formed. So I'm here with the councillors. And we are talking about, because parking is a responsibility of the councillors, what kind of solutions we can come up with. And it is our intention to have a conversation to include the police. So until we have the final solution in place, how can we work with the police so we can create a more orderly flow of traffic and that people are not constantly getting tickets?
Stay with us. More CVM News at noon after this.
country. Like you, we take pride in building Jamaica. The resilience of our people is cemented in our products, built to last for generations. Laying the foundation for thriving communities, we're committed to excellence and quality. Quality products, quality relationships. We're all proud Jamaicans, working hard, doing good, building a sustainable future for all. That same unbeatable spirit runs through us. We are made of Jamaica.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mafood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Welcome back. It's now time for our discussion segment. There is a rising demand for local sperm donations in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. In previous years, sperm was imported, but costs have become a concern. Joining me now to discuss this topic is Dr. Sarifa Frederick, Clinical Director of the Caribbean Fertility Center. Dr. Frederick, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
To start, let's paint a picture, set the context, yes? How would you describe the state of Jamaican sperm donations currently? What's the industry like?
Okay, so it's a very new industry. We have just started to recruit patients over the last year. Clients, male clients. What we do is we send out drives through social media, and then men who watch Instagram or TikTok, etc., will contact us, and then we will start the process of preparing them for sperm donation.
Right.
So in the past, women who needed sperm would have to import sperm from overseas, from banks overseas, and then pay high importation fees, have to deal with duty, etc., to be able to access donor sperm.
Doc, what's the demand like for sperm? What's the demand like?
On average, we have about 3 to 4 women per week who contact us, who request donor sperm. So yeah, about 3 to 4 women per week. And this is not just locally, this is throughout the Caribbean as well as the diaspora as well in the US and the UK.
You did mention that the industry is still a developing one, yes? You had mentioned one earlier, but what are some of the other big challenges that you face in acquiring your whatever you need?
The biggest challenge is that when these young men come in, if we have 10 young men who come in to, potentially to donate sperm, only about 2 to 3 of them actually meet the criteria in terms of the sperm count that's necessary in order to freeze sperm and get a good result when we actually thaw the sperm.
Oh.
So that's the greatest challenge that we have right now.
So are you saying that we have a fertility issue in Jamaica?
It appears so. It appears so, yes.
Another...
But remember now that the sperm count that's necessary to donate sperm, if you have less than this, it doesn't mean that you're unable to get somebody pregnant.
Right.
What we need is somebody to have a very good sperm count so that when we freeze the sperm and thaw it at the end of the day, because you will have drop off because of the freezing and the thawing process.
Right.
So that is it basically. I mean, it doesn't mean that men who are not eligible, it doesn't mean that they will not be able to get their partner pregnant.
Very important
So just
point.
to clarify that.
Very important point. But I have to ask this follow-up. What accounts for the low sperm count in some men?
I believe some of it is hereditary, so there may be some hereditary conditions. The majority of it, I believe, though, is environmental. So what happens is that some men get exposed to infections, which lead to blockage of the pathway that the sperm are supposed to come through.
Oh.
So that's an issue. 2, lifestyle in terms of the testicles are always on the outside of the body, and this is deliberate in order to keep it cool. So when we do things that, create heat in that area, it is not good for sperm production. So exposure to heat, sitting on hot surfaces, going in saunas for a long time, putting your laptops that generate heat in your lap, wearing very, very tight clothes that, that area is not able to breathe properly can also contribute to the fall in decline, as well as just, bad lifestyle, too much alcohol, excessive drugs, that sort of thing can contribute.
All right, Dr. Frederick, we're talking the demand for local sperm here on CVM News at Noon. We'll be right back after this quick break.
The Time is brought to you by Ford Territory.
Welcome back. You're watching CVM News at Noon, and we're joined by Dr. Frederick, and we're talking the local demand for sperm. Now, before we went off, we were talking about some of the factors that could lead to a low sperm count. Yes, we're going to backtrack just a little bit because many Jamaicans may have a concern over privacy and who the donor may be. How can we destigmatize or address cultural concerns about sperm donation?
Okay, so when a sperm donor comes in, he basically relinquishes all rights to the parenting of that child. So he will sign a document that says that, and what we practice most of all is autonomous donation. So he does not know anybody who his sperm is going to, as well as the person who is in receiving the sperm doesn't know who the individual is. So there's no identifying information that is exchanged between both parties.
Interesting.
So it's completely autonomous.
Well, beyond, what are some of the new innovations that can improve fertility for both men and women? Let me ask that.
Okay, so basically getting frequent health checks, making sure that you are not an undiagnosed diabetic, hypertensive. Also trying to have healthy sexual practices to prevent infections, which can lead to devastation of the reproductive tract.
Doc, you have to break that down. Healthy sexual practices, that's a catch-all. Break it down for the audience.
Right. I thought that was understood. Okay, so that is using protection to prevent the transmission of infections when having intercourse.
Very important.
So using a condom, even if you're going to use another birth control method, it's always a good idea to use a condom to prevent, infection transmission.
Right.
There's also a healthy diet, reducing the amount of toxic foods that we take in, as well as supplements. Supplements are very good in somebody who is trying to conceive.
Right. Now, for women who are curious about exploring this option to have children of their own, how confident should they be in your ability to deliver your service?
The women who are seeking sperm, you're talking about?
Certainly, for those who are in demand of the commodity, how do we know that we can trust that you are the right source?
Well, we screen our sperm donors. We screen them properly. So we make sure that they are devoid of any hereditary diseases, sickle cell, any other disease that can be, transmitted to the child. We make sure that they're screened properly. We follow the FDA guidelines in the USA for their sperm donation program. So we make sure that, our sperm donors are also devoid of any psychiatric illnesses that are hereditary. So we basically follow the FDA guidelines to a point to make sure that these donors are screened properly.
Right.
Also, we are a private entity, so we make sure that your information doesn't get out there. So we take information control very seriously. We also are very big on privacy. So there's nobody here that is going to know that you're seeking these services.
Right.
So we find, taking these measures to make sure that, the client is protected and they're comfortable and their information is not leaked outside of this institution.
The last question I'll leave you with, for the potential donors looking on, is there any monetary incentive to come and contribute?
Okay. Good question. So sperm donation really is an altruistic. We want people to do it because they feel the need to